everybody! Welcome back to Northernlion plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Plus, we're doing random hard mode runs right now, building a pseudo streak that is basically irrelevant, and we're Samson. What do we need as Samson here? Basically the same thing we did on that Eve run. 4C8Z BLTB. That's not a bed and breakfast. That's a bacon, lettuce, tomato, and breakfast. Which sounds perfect to me right now. I can get down with the bacon sandwich. You know, I've reevaluated some of my nutritional choices in my life. I'm living healthier. But I can't deny that 2 pieces of white bread with like 4 slices of bacon sandwich between them, oh, sounds mighty delicious right now. If you could excuse me here, I'm just gonna go make that. I'm not gonna make it because here's the thing with bacon. I know that, let's just head this off at the pass, you know, the bacon narwhals at midnight, you know? Okay, I know that bacon is, especially for like a while, it was like an internet meme that was like, you know, the best meat on the planet. I don't think bacon's the best meat on the planet, but I do like it. But the problem is, for sandwich ingredients, it's in kind of a weird area, wouldn't you say? I hope so, because I'm asking you to right now. I don't want to cook 2 strips of bacon fresh to put them on a sandwich. Man, if that was wait what, I would have been way happier, but still, could be worse. Like marginally worse, maybe. Possibly. It's an okay floor for stuff, but we're not going to be able to activate Bloody Lust too much on purpose here, at least. Like, I don't want to, if I'm making a sandwich, part of the reason I'm making a sandwich is because I love it and it's the greatest food product ever, and the other reason is because I want a lunch that's fast. You know, I want a lunch I can just grab some, you know, cured meats out of the fridge, put a little bit of sliced cheese on it, get some bread, maybe toast the bread if I'm feeling particularly artisan, and then we're good to go, right? I don't want to have to cook the ingredients separately. So you might say, NL, you're being a big old baby. Why don't you just have the bacon pre-cooked and then put it on the sandwich, you know, at construction time? It's not the same, is it? You want that nice crispy base. Say what you will about a fast food establishment, but they have, you know, the means of production to get that done ASAP. You know, to have a fresh bacon available for you. Whereas at home, I have northern apparently. No, I have neither the time nor the desire which to get that done. They've got a competitive advantage over me, and that's why I'm never going to open a Wendy's franchise. For now, though, oh, okay, yeah, good, really, that was just to get the extra damage. It was worth it, you know? 1 Spirit Heart down the drain for 0.5 damage up for 2 remaining rooms. 10 out of 10 decision on my part. Should really focus here. I want to enter the next fight having at least half of a Spirit Heart left. Just gives us the ability to take 1 hit against both of these bosses and not be compromising our deal with the devil chances, which actually, because it could still be, oh, there we go, because it could still be 2 more floors before we get a blood bank, and thus the ability to, like, activate IV bag whenever we so choose. I think to just get strong the more traditional way is probably our best option right now. Oh, what a surprise. Last Grey Wolves playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Must be nice playing some Battlegrounds. Whoa, you haven't played enough PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds yet, Austin? You gotta play a game that you've already played 100,000 times for YouTube and Twitch? I don't understand. Like, don't you ever get sick of it? Don't you ever want to play something new? If you find yourself going, NL, come on, buddy, what about Isaac? You're missing out on the joke here. I'm aware of that. It's a satire. I'm a self-satire. I'm a self-spare tire. If you could just die as quickly as possible, give us a deal with the devil with mom's knife, I would be a very happy man. I'm not going to demand it, but I do think I'm entitled to it as the #1 member of the Isaac fan club. Magic mushroom? Oh, I mean, I actually think Ghost Baby is worth nothing in this situation. We could have taken it without much of a cost, but we could also just not take it and have 0 cost, and that's probably for the best because it's not very good. So we are at 7.35 damage base. This should give us enough money to get something from the shop. We don't really want to get things from the shop. We want to try to get an IV bag if possible, but we're in a very, very good spot now. Just like the last run, although the last run, it did occasionally get a little, oh my lord, did occasionally get a little tricky towards the end there. Bomb bag's fine. And we were sort of low on HP and also ended up killing, like, literally everything remaining on the post-it note that we could conceivably do within the same run. We sort of were a little bit, you know, the run, if I may use late 90s parlance, was a little whack for a while. But once we managed to get things connected, it started to just crush it. Gary Vaynerchuk style, and we're doing all right here. Dude, I believe that that is a second secret room, but I'm not willing to gamble my last remaining bomb to check. And this would be a great floor to get a Krampus item. I'll take either one. We definitely don't want to keep Butterbean, so we could use a deal with the devil that doesn't cost us HP. We did not get one. You know what? All the better to get one on the next floor with. That's my philosophy. We're already at, I think, like 9 damage by base at this point. Cricket's Head, unfortunately, it doesn't multiply your existing multiplier. It also doesn't markiplier your existing markiplier, which is good because if you markiplied markiplier, you'd get a, you know, a square of markiplier. And I mean, I like it as much as the next guy, but that's probably just too much markiplier. Maybe you get like a logarithmic scale going or something like that. Look, I know just enough math to get myself into trouble accidentally with this analogy here. It's a bad idea. Just looking for the shop because we can definitely, at this point, I mean, first off, we should donate because the run's looking good. Got us behind looking dang good, though. Why not? This is free. There's actually no reason why not. But I say why not to remind me of the amazing Hillary Duff song of the same name. Why not take a crazy chance? Why not do a crazy dance? I like to think of that sometimes. Because everyone, you know, motivating songs are all well and good when they're motivating you to do, like, good things. When you're like, oh, I really don't want to go to the gym today, but I should. Oh, I want to ask that girl out, but I don't have the confidence. Why not take a crazy chance? Not really a crazy chance. You're more just like the anxiety. But anyway, why not do a crazy dance? But then, you know, you're like, oh, that's nice. Hillary Duff trying to motivate people. Do you ever think about, like, you know, what if, like, bank robbers listen to that song? They're like, I don't know, dude, this seems like a risky job. And then they're in the grocery store and, like, you know, because baby, you're a firework. Go ahead and rob that bank. And they're like, you know what, Katy Perry? I will go and rob that bank. Originally, I wasn't going to. But then your song came on and told me I could do anything. And I decided to take that to heart. So, obviously what I'm saying is that we should never motivate each other because it runs the risk of motivating us to do bad things. Dude, I was... in this exhibit of everything on the NLSS comes true eventually, TJ Miller, you know, ex-Silicon Valley co-star, emoji movie actor. I actually, like... I don't really like TJ Miller as a... I don't like his work, I should say. I've never met him in person. Ancient Recall is the one that gives us a bunch of cards, right? And I don't think that that's necessarily that divisive. I like him on Silicon Valley because he's like... He's abrasive, and on Silicon Valley that works. But then I find, like, in literally everything else that he's in, he's playing exactly the same character, which is fine. I also think that that's probably him from interviews that I've seen with him. And again, you know, it works for him. I'm not saying he shouldn't be able to do it. So, no, going into this, I'm not the world's biggest TJ Miller fan. Although I did like him in Deadpool as well. Turns out I'm actually the world's biggest TJ Miller fan. I just didn't realize. Oh, I was thinking of J.G. Wentworth this whole time. No, but I'm not the biggest TJ Miller fan, but he did an interview with the Huffington Post for the release of the Emoji Movie, which I know, but in it, he espouses the belief that children don't deserve to laugh as much as adults because they haven't earned it. Literally, I'm not saying that he stole this, I'm saying, you know, great minds think alike, or poison minds think alike. Literally, an NLSS bit come to life. You know, the idea that in order to enjoy happiness, you have to suffer a little bit, taken to the extreme. I think he's being like a half serious, half joking. And I was kind of like, everyone was like, oh my god, this guy hates kids. And I was like, no, he's right. I mean, he's also, it sounds very evil, but I also think he is right. Some kids certainly can have tough lives, but he's like, kids aren't aware of their own mortality. And as a result, they don't need a distraction from their own mortality. Obviously, that's not true for like every child, but on average, I think he's probably right. Wow, we survived that. Now, does that mean that children shouldn't be allowed to laugh? No, but I mean, you got to admire the chutzpah of somebody saying that as they're marketing a movie that's basically designed to make children laugh. But it's not like those kids read the Huffington Post either, right? So, I really thought we should have used Butterbean there. It was a crazy interview. And also kind of hilarious. You know, he's like, that's why kids can't drink, because they haven't earned the right to drink. And I'm like, that's obviously ridiculous. You're turning me into what I don't want to be. Because I want to be like, well, actually, kids don't drink because, you know, they're not mature enough to handle the, you know, mental effects of alcohol, and also it might have terrible effects on their brains. But, you know, beyond, you know, they don't possess the means to, you know, stop addiction before it starts. You know, the kids are, they just, if you ask them what they want to eat for dinner, they're just going to ask for candy all the time. They don't have that sense of guilt. You got to earn that. I understand. He's turning me pedantic. You're losing me my jury. But yeah, everybody, well, not everybody. In the one thread I saw about it on Twitter, people were like tearing him apart. Oh, so kids don't deserve to laugh? I'm not going to say that what he's saying is not fundamentally absurd, because it is. But at the same time, that's not what he's saying. He's not saying kids don't deserve to laugh. He's just saying adults deserve to laugh more. Because, you know, taxes and disease and the inevitability of, you know, even if you live your entire life right, you know, you're just gonna turn to, you know, worm food at the end anyway. And, you know, traffic and etc., etc. Having to actually willfully go to places like Bed Bath & Beyond. Like, adults have earned it. We're killing it. Let's face it, okay? If you're an adult, take a rare opportunity to pat yourself on the back. I promise you, nobody else will. We should just re-roll this right now. Because you're keeping the world running. Ooh, I'll go Guppy's head. You're keeping the world running. You know, we have an obligation. Well, if you're a parent, you have an obligation. I have, like, a begrudging duty to keep the world safe for the next generation of people, you know? For the generation that's coming up after us. You know, we gotta preserve childlike innocence as long as possible, because once it's gone forever. But, adults are the ones keeping the world running. You know, you ever see, like, people on Facebook, I'm not gonna say that it's recent mothers, but it's, like, oftentimes recent mothers, post, like, a Facebook video that's like, kids are so smart if we just listen to them. Are you hearing yourself? Now, I've met some adults who have held some very, very stupid opinions. I've met adults that are otherwise reasonable people who hold stupid opinions. I've met adults who are idiots who hold almost exclusively idiotic opinions. And you know what? We've all got to share this world together. Many of them would probably say the same thing about me, just in a less articulate way. Yeah, that was kind of a jerk move, but come on. I'm building the character here. Kids are way stupider. Purer, I think, absolutely. In many cases. Free of, you know, some of the adult biases, perhaps. You know, like, you ever see a video that's, like, a kid in, like, a Walmart or a Target or something like that, and they're like, Mommy, why are the action figures in the boys section and the dolls are in the girls section? Everyone's like, this kid is speaking the truth. I'm like, I can relate to that. I can understand. You know, we've grown up with the idea that action figures are boys' toys, and dolls are girls' toys, and, you know, so as a result, when I see that, it doesn't look off to me, but when someone's looking at it with fresh eyes, they're like, hey, it's a little jacked up here, wouldn't you say, Mom? Let's go with shoot the whoop. That I understand, but when people drop these overarching generalities, like, kids are so smart, if only we listen to them. Oh yeah, you're so smart? What's Avogadro's number, Johnny? Johnny doesn't know what Avogadro's number is. He doesn't even know what an avocado is. Kids are so smart if you just take the time to listen to them. Hey, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be the sun! Yeah! Should definitely... well, okay, I understand, Doctor, that you, have given me a 5% chance of survival, and the only means that I can improve that is via this surgery. But before I give you my consent to operate, I'm just gonna ask my 2-year-old what he feels about the situation. Do you think Daddy should get the brain surgery? I want my name to be Spaghetti. Sorry, Doc. My chief advisor has spoken. We gotta go to City Hall and change his name to Spaghetti. I'm just saying you could take it, you can take it a little too far. I understand, by the way. I firmly believe that one of my 2 cats is so much smarter than the average cat that he's a cat genius. This cat can do no wrong. Anytime he does anything that resembles having intent behind it, I'm like, this cat has a brain. Like, one heck of a brain on this cat, right? Am I right or am I right? But in reality, he's probably just like a normal cat. I feel like he's smart. But I also, you know, I love him, so of course I feel like he's smart. We got Lump of Coal there. That's a lovely pickup. I don't know why I made this sound like it wasn't. So I understand, but then you get these, you know, parents who are like, my child is an indigo child. They feel emotional intelligence on an ultraviolet wavelength. And you go, what are you... Are you listening to yourself? I saw a post on Facebook. It was about like a 13-year-old genius. Which happens all the time. You know, part of growing up is accepting that, you know, I've done well for myself in this life, but there's probably like 100 12-year-olds on planet Earth that are smarter than I'll ever be already. Despite all the, you know, I've been bettering myself for a long time. It'll never be good enough. They've just, for whatever reason, you know, they've got the kind of brain structure that allows them to hit those highs, and that's fine. But they'll never have lived through the NSYNC era, so I'll always have that over top of them. But then, like, in the post, this is like a 13-year-old was explaining, like, how we can build an engine to get to Mars. And I didn't watch it, because first off, I'm not gonna be the jerk who's like, this kid's an idiot. I also don't possess the expertise to know whether or not he is an idiot. But anyway, there was like a young mother in the comments who was like, my little Jeremy's been watching so many of these videos, and he, like, communicates telepathically with his child. And I was, you believe that? Like, you go to work every day as says here, owner of self-employed, believing that your child communicates telepathically with other children. This is actually kind of a touchy subject that I've waded into, like, thornily and by accident. I'm not trying to, like, stigmatize mental illness. I think this is a person that is otherwise... So, because the rest of the comment seemed totally normal. It's just like, man, the next generation is going to be in such good hands as a result of kids like Jeremy and this guy. And, you know, she seemed put together. But at the same time, it was like, you actually believe that. That's stunning to me. And very scary. But as long as you conduct yourself in a, you know, in a manner that's becoming of a human being and an adult in today's society, I guess you can hold that belief. Doesn't really affect me that much personally. I just, you know, I resist the notion. We spend our whole lives getting smarter. That's like, you can't help it. You might get more ignorant as you get older, stuck in your ways, but your brain is such a sponge, you actually can't stop yourself from becoming smarter. Even someone you look at and you're like, when did you get so dumb? They're actually smarter than they used to be. You just probably got smarter than them faster than they got smarter. This is now completely ignorant of neuroscience, but let's ignore that. I think we might as well go for this, dude. Like, this runs 10 out of 10 at this point. And we should be able to use Shoop-de-Whoop like every wave, which I have failed on miserably here to begin with, but, So it's to say that, you know, children are so smart if we just listen. I think if you need a fresh set of eyes on something, you say, hey, 6-year-old, come here. What do you think of this highway system? It looks stupid. Yeah. Dude, Eisenhower, what were you thinking? Look at this, like, clover ramp here. This is absurd. What do you think of this neighborhood? All the houses look the same. It's ugly. Thank you. I've been saying that for 30 years. I just needed a fresh set of eyes to come along. I actually, like, that was a jab at the suburbs. This will be my next tangent. I don't dislike the suburbs. I do resist the notion that children are uniformly intelligent. Do they deserve to laugh? Probably. Being a kid is hard, dude. That's mostly meant facetiously, but it can be, certainly. I'm not trying to say, like, if you're in a messed up family situation, like, oh, that's... Well, you're in a messed up family situation? Well, I pay income tax, so honestly, like, you know, I'd trade lives with you in a second. I'm not being that ignorant, but... Regardless. I love the suburbs. I live in a major Canadian city. Because anytime you say it's a major city, people go, oh yeah, I live in... You know, the bowels of Kowloon Walled City in Hong Kong. I've 94,000 people per square foot. You think you live in a city? Oh, I live on Europa, where me and, you know, 9 quadrillion other aliens all reside, you know, beneath a single polar ice cap. Congratulations. Well, let me know how the weather is there. It sounds cool. But I don't dislike the suburbs. You meet people in here all the time. And by in here, I mean in Vancouver. That are like, you know, oh yeah, I grew up in the suburbs. Couldn't wait to get out of there. This city has more amenities, but dude, the suburbs, they got advantages. First off, respect that your parents probably moved you to the suburbs because they wanted a reasonably affordable neighborhood compared to like a city. Not compared to like the absolute country, but you get the idea. That was safe. You know, you had neighbors. You could also have a yard to play around in. And it's just like, you know, it's a safe place to raise a child, to make some friends with the kids in the neighborhood. Not be totally isolated, but not also thrown into a, you know, a downtown city center where they, you know, see somebody break a glass bottle over their head like once every 3 months. Yeah, like living in the suburbs ain't so bad. That's what I'm saying to you. If you live in the suburbs right now, I'm not saying you should be like appreciative 100%. Like there are problems with the suburbs, I'm sure, that I'm largely unaware of. I'm not ignorant of it. I grew up in the country, and then for like 3 of my 4 years in high school, I lived in the suburbs. And I was like, this sucks. My favorite bands aren't playing here. And then later, you know, you get a little older, you're like, that's a very minor problem in the whole scheme of things. The only thing that I dislike fully about the suburbs, well, there's 2 things. One is, even though we own a car, I would prefer not having to own a car. And in the suburbs, you pretty much gotta own a car. Most places, anyway. Especially if you're a suburb of something that's not a major city, that's like it has a transit network. You kind of gotta own a car. And that means everybody in the suburbs owns a car, and they're probably commuting to a city, and then they gotta... You know, you're fighting each other for traffic because you chose to live there. And that's annoying, spending some of your life in traffic like that. I mean, a friend of my parents lives in a town. I mean, it's not it's not sensitive information, but I'm just trying to think about how to universalize this. Basically, he lives 2 hours away from where he works. So he commutes every day. Let's play some commute, like... bingo right now. Who's got the longest commute in chat? I'm not gonna ask you to prove it because that's kind of ridiculous. Do we have the hush fight done? We do. So I'm just gonna go then to the cathedral. But like if you go, I have a 6-hour commute. I don't believe you. Okay? My brother-in-law, when they used to live in California, now they live in Washington State. He used to have a 3-hour commute, but only on the weekends. So he's like some kind of like facial surgeon or something like that. So he would work in like the Los Angeles area Monday to Thursday or something like that. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday he would drive up. I mean, it's like a 6-hour commute, but only on the weekends. he would drive up to, like, the Bay Area, work in a hospital or a clinic up there, and then drive back on Sunday. I don't know where he stayed, but this is irrelevant for the purposes. That's a long commute, but you got to divide it by the number of days. I think man who drives 2 hours a day, 5 times a week, and has for 30 years is like way more. He's got the bragging rights there, or the opposite of the bragging rights. I mean, what do you think? Would you rather drive 8 hours once a week or an hour and a half per day 5 times a week? Those are roughly equivalent, I think. Wait, what am I? No, not quite. You know, an hour and 41 minutes, let's say. I'd rather do like an 8-hour drive once a week, I think, because once it's done, it's done. It's like the same thing with working out, man. Working out would be way easier to fall into routine for if it was just like every Saturday, you just spend 3 hours working out, and you get jacked. If instead of having 1 cheat day and 6 not cheat days, you just had 6 cheat days and then 1 day in which you're like, I'm gonna eat nothing. It's a dangerous attitude to espouse. I'm not trying to say that that's a good idea. Although the idea of intermittent fasting has started to catch on a little bit, but I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know if that's good or bad for you. Just in general, and this doesn't just go for me. You should be wary of my advice, but you should also accept that most of the time when I give advice, I also say I don't know what I'm talking about. You should be wary of people who do what I do that give you advice and don't hedge their advice in like a little hot dog bun of, but don't listen to me, I'm an idiot, do your own research. Anybody who, especially if they're like a gaming YouTuber, they act like an authority on anything but like, what DPI your mouse should be set on in the Binding of Isaac, I would be very afraid of that. Not afraid, maybe, but I would be cautious. At some point, everybody doing this job has got to learn that when you spend like 40 plus hours a week talking to yourself in a room, you get a lot of depth of knowledge in how to maintain a little bit of self-delusion that you're having a conversation, and all of your other knowledge just suffers greatly. Like, for example, did you know this idiot, and I'm talking about myself, can't even pronounce snooker correctly? He says snooker, like some kind of person who's from a different country. I don't even understand it. Like, he says words differently than me. We invented words here. Okay, I'm getting like... I understand. I'm beating the same drum over and over. Like a monkey with a miniature symbol. The joy of repetition really is in you. Let's continue to go. Alright. Spider butt is irrelevant. I know we used Shoop the Whoop last run as well, but... Dude, I mean, this is 2 extremely good runs in a row. In case that's not, like, extremely clear. Oh, I just squeezed through the door. I meant to open that chest. Could be like a Forget-Me-Now or something. Then we can get Dad's Key and knock out Mega Satan. We didn't get a Delirium play, and we didn't get a Forget-Me-Now, but we did have a good run nonetheless. Hey, thanks for watching. Bloody Penny, great item for Samson. Trinket has appeared in the basement. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. And, of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.